I'm Mr. Adeniyi Adebisi. You know, in those days, it was not so common to know your age. But comparing one thing with the other, I could say that the next few months, I will be 87 years old. I was born in Osogbo, Osun State capital. My parents were not really city people, so I was brought up in a village near Ilesha. Education was just about getting on that time. When I say getting on, I mean, education was not being taken seriously. When the religious people came, they brought education quite all right, but just for the propagation of their religion, both Islam and Christianity. On the Islamic side, they want people to learn Quran. And the more of the Quran you know, the more you listen to the leaders. In the South, when Lugard came, he wanted to counterbalance the effects, the influence of the jihadists that time. Then he massively brought in Christianity and supported in as many ways as possible. So those of them that had later converted to Islamic religion, they thought it's no use going the Western education line because that will be converting them to Christianity. But I was born into a Muslim family. Yoruba, for example, they don't care so much about religion. Even the native religion, they have people who are devoted. So Yoruba never took religion too seriously. Up to this minute I'm talking to you. So I was giving Muslim name quite all right, but my father, my mother, they were not practicing Muslims. And that was the stage. My father did not like education, not because he was not good enough or financially buoyant enough. In fact, by that time standard, he was a millionaire because he was a cocoa merchant. And what he could understand by education that time was, if you went to school, you want to get money. What of me? I didn't go to school. And who is richer than me in the whole of this area? So nobody bothered to send me to school. I could say I sent myself to school. In the morning, my colleagues, maybe around the age of 10 or 11 or so, they will go to school. I will escort them to the door of the school, and I will come back home. Then one day, the headmaster saw me, thinking that I'd come to register. He just called me, "Come inside, sit down." And he started asking, "What's your name? What's your second name?" And that was how I got registered in the school. And when I got home, nobody bothered to ask, "Where did you go? Who asked you to do? What did you do?" But then I built on that. That was the real foundation of my being exposed to education. I moved from there to secondary school at Ife Grammar School, now called Ife Anglican Grammar School. And from there, I got my first appointment with Federal Ministry of Transport, Marina. With that appointment, I was more exposed, at least more than fellow villagers and my parents too. I became more and more interested in education. I got the guide for universities. In those days, we were having only 4 universities. Ibadan, University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, Ahmadu Bello, and Nsukka. I was exempted for some professional studies of some of these accounting bodies too. Institute of Cost and Management Accountants, UK. So again, my first jobs were very exciting which included British Caledonian Airways. I was the commercial accountant for Nigeria at that time. That one exposed me further. At a point, when I thought that moving around would not do any good again, I formed my own company, Adeniyi Adebisi and Co. Limited, business and management consultants. And that's what I did until can we say about a decade ago, when I stopped running around. If I want to talk about the value or values that guided me, it will only be in retrospective. Because, as a young boy, a young man, you just move as things appear. But I can tell you straight away that the home training is there. People had plenty of time for their children than now. Almost every day, they tell you what to do and what not to do. And whatever is confronting you, you just simply apply that. Like, don't be lazy, for example. It's applicable to everything. The moment you set your mind to do a particular thing, you remember that you have to do it with all your might and all the strength you have. Then honesty. Nobody cares so much about who is rich, who is not rich. Just live well with people around you. It's more than any other thing you can think of. So as I was going through life, I can tell you, without knowing, unconsciously, I allow all these things to guide me. See education, for example. Even when my parents did not know the value of education, neither could they have been the ones to encourage me. I just stumbled into it. And since that time, I've been doing a lot to encourage education in my family and in my immediate environment and anywhere I find myself. Yes, my experience living through, even how Nigeria came to be, the independence, the post-independence, politically and economically. I've gone through, it's a privilege actually. I don't need to read any book. They all happen in my presence. And I think that's a privilege. Let's say I was born around 1939. That time, there was nothing, Nigeria was just evolving. So to say, Nigeria was just evolving. Because the British came in around 1850 something. And when they came in, the intention was not too clear to everybody. They got their own incentive through one of the master, how do they call it now? Master brain of those days, Adam Smith. This Adam Smith wrote a book around that time. They call it The Wealth of Nations. With that book, government adopted it and allowed their citizens to just go anywhere they like in the world to look for money. Let's put it simply like that. And when they go out, they come back with money. Their nations become rich. There was less control. No matter what you did that time to bring money, your country did not bother. So it was drawing from that. You see these Western people, when I say Western people, the British, the Western Europe, the America, coming to Africa. And what did they do? They became wealthy. their countries became wealthy, and all for self-personal aggrandizement. They just want to live big. After the Second World War, they rebuilt their cities. But coming to Nigeria, let us face the reality. They conquer every group in Nigeria jointly and individually. They conquer the North, they conquer the West, they conquer the East, and maybe after that, they now think of consolidating their holding. That was around 1914, when they called the space they have influence on Nigeria. And since that time, if you look at it very well, they are just simply refusing to let go. If anybody tells you that there is a country called Nigeria or there are nations called their different names, they are still under the grip of these Western powers. Anything they don't like, you cannot do. They will not allow you to do it. And they are very, very smart and clever about this. So, if the title of my book is Africa's Underdevelopment, the Nigerian Predicament, that's what the question is seeking to answer. They are still there. They don't want to let go. Why they are now staying so long is because they are now using our own people to hold us down. If you ask any average African or Nigerian, why is he in government? He doesn't know. He doesn't know that he's in government for the benefit of his people. What an average African knows about political power, what he can do about it, is to enrich himself. And the news is tightening more and more on the neck of an average Nigerian and average African. So they now devise a way of making our own people to carry out their assignment for them. And that is the predicament we are facing. Call him president, call him chairman, call him councillor, they are not working for the people. And they are meant to be like that. How long will it take us to know this and displace them? That is the challenge we are facing now. I saw it through. Because at my age, we started together, and even now, it's either their children or their fathers that are still existing. But that is a simple trick they are using against us. When we are talking of changes, there will be changes. Like you look into the streets, you see so many cars, so many beautiful buildings. You see so many universities. But the moment all these things are not targeted to the development of the citizens, they are not changes in the right direction. When I say that good direction, I'm talking about people not only individually independent, but as sovereign states. The countries are not sovereign states. They are being dictated to from outside. And that's the tragedy of it. So I will see progress, but they are not the type of progress humanity requires. You will get more comfort. More people will still be enduring all sorts of difficulties, suffering to exist. But that sovereignty, independence, we'll be losing it more and more until they will push us aside. It's possible. I used to say Africa is the first and the best. All other parts of the world, they know this. Call the Chinese, call the Russians, call the Americans, call the Western world, Germany, France, and all those places. They envy that God-given area. And whatever they do, whatever they don't do, they are being guided. That's their long-term program. How they will one day wake up and see that the blacks are moved away from where they are occupying now. So when we are talking of what the future portends, we must be very, very careful to observe that area. Nothing is fixed. Nobody told you anything. You are just sleeping, waking up to meet certain things, which you might understand on the surface, but in depth, you might not understand. So, talking about questions now, I will tell you, during the COVID-19, we were asked not to go out. And I was having less and less to do. No movement outside. But one thing keeps on ringing in my head, and I keep on hearing everywhere I turn my attention to. Why is Nigeria like this? How come Nigeria is like this? Why is Nigeria not like this? Then I just decided to take up the challenge and answer the question. I did some table research, whether they call it armchair research, I don't know. But you know, information is readily available now. And what I discovered pushed me to write that book. It's just, we are being governed not by our leaders, that is the leaders we choose, but we are being governed first by the leaders imposed on us from outside, that is those who are interested in the affairs of the country for their own benefits. It's possible many of them are not even aware of this, because when you meet an average politician, you can't tell you what he's doing. When somebody tells you, you are not a native of this, why do you want to be councillor here? This is this. Is that the essence of governance? It's not. But many of them, you see them rambling like that. What do you make of Emiloko? What is the meaning of Emiloko? It's around nonsense. If you understand what governance is about, leadership is about, it's not turn by turn. When it's not oligarchy, or we pretend we are practicing democracy. It can only come from those who don't have idea of what leadership is and what leadership should be, that can be talking in the way our present crop of politicians and leaders are thinking. They don't think beyond what they can get for themselves, what they can get for their family. And when you open any newspaper, you see the way they display their achievements. Can you imagine somebody doing birthday, or is doing remembrance, the family is doing remembrance of one thing or the other, and they are taking up as much as 20 pages of adverts in national newspaper, in a newspaper comprising of 40 or 44 pages. That's what they know. So, the way I look at it is that we have been boxed to a corner. And when we say we have been boxed to a corner, by who? By these foreign bodies, who are not better off anyway. They are only relying on force. They are so confident that if you don't do what we ask you to do, we will bomb you. They have been pretending before. They are using cover-up, but they are not. They are now saying it straight away. And they are very, very wise. If you start putting two pins together to make something powerful, they know. Before you go a few days, they come and meet you. What do you think you are doing? They want to reserve the power to themselves. Raw power. That's not ruling. That's not ruling through intelligence, through knowledge, through wisdom. But that's what they are doing now. The so-called world power. I would say I've been a victim too. We were told to believe certain things, but with God's grace, I'm now attaining the age. I'm now attaining. Looking back, I don't know what to call it. Whether they are just brainwashing us, or it's just outright deceit, or propaganda, or anything. Almost on a daily basis, I keep on seeing that things are not the way we have been told they are. And if I still have the benefits of being alive, I challenge myself to voice out that. And they know, those who are supposed to know, they know. But when you expand the network of those who know, you are spelling their end. Because that's the only way. They keep on behaving as if you don't know what they are doing. But the moment you keep on, they are now seeing it as it's almost happening everywhere now. They are being weakened. They are weakened. They know that power is slipping off. Everything is not a gun or bomb or anything. We can even start with their agents. I call them their agents. Those we call our leaders now. They are the agents of people. Any imaginable problem we have in Africa or in Nigeria is the people who are our leaders. We call our leaders, but in fact, they are agents, the agents of the people oppressing us. Right from the time of the colonial people, all elections in Nigeria have been rigged. Outrightly at times, even under colonial period, when they were saying go and conduct election for this, go and do this. If you come back with the result they don't like, they will change it. And there is nothing you can do about it. So, the moment we know that these people are just pretending, they are not truly our leaders, things will start changing. My utmost hope for Nigeria is that Nigeria should know the truth. I'm not a religious person, but the Bible says it's only the truth that can set you free. As long as you live in default, you don't think properly, things will be getting worse. So, Nigerians, if you go back to the traditional way, they don't pick leaders by popular choice. It's when they see you doing what is good, what is acceptable. Even if you don't want to be their leader, they will come and beg you. For days, for months, if they have seen a leader, somebody with leadership quality, they keep on persuading. We shall help you. Don't bother. The problem will not be your own alone. Traditionally, that's how black they select their leaders. We are now stepping into a new world where all things that used to matter before will not matter again. And to accelerate that, that's why we have this book. Things have to change. I dedicated the book to, one, those who don't like the way things are going, those who honestly and sincerely, they know what is going on and they want to do something about it. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to express myself on my new book. And I think this will make many people to be curious enough to get a copy of the book. I really appreciate